In this video, we're going to continue working on our custom scrollbar widget by adding the scrollbar's thumb. Inside the scrollbar class, we're going to add some more options. We're going to add a default color for the thumb and a default hover color for when the mouse is over the thumb. So right here inside of our self.options dictionary, we're going to do thumb_color, and I'm just give it a hex color. Right. Then we're going to do thumb_hover color. I'm also going to give that a hex color. So underneath self.orient here, we're going to create a couple more attributes. The first one is thumb size, which determines the default size of the thumb. So underneath here, we're just going to do self.thumb_size is equal to 30. Then we're going to create a fraction attribute, which determines the scroll percentage. So self.fraction equal to 0. Next, we're going to set the starting drag position. So self.start_drag_position is equal to 0. And now we're going to set two Boolean attributes, one for scrollbar dragging and one for scrollbar hovering. So self.dragging is equal to false, and self.hovering is equal to false. So we need a method that's going to draw the scrollbar thumb each time its position changes. So we'll create a method named redraw and start the method off by deleting the thumb if one is already drawn. So underneath here, underneath our config method here, we're going to do define redraw self, and then we're going to go ahead and delete the thumb if one is already drawn. So self.delete and pass in thumb. Okay. So now we'll get the size of the scrollbar. So we'll do size equal to self.winfo_width, _height. And if self.orientation is equal to vertical, else we'll use self.winfo_width. Now we're going to calculate how far the thumb can move. So we'll do max_position is equal to max. We're going to pass in size minus self.thumb_size, and then we're going to pass in 1. Okay. And finally, we're going to get the thumb's current position. So we'll do position is equal to self.fraction times max_position. So the next thing we're going to do is actually draw the thumb, starting off by checking if the scrollbar is vertical. So we'll do if self.orient is equal to vertical. And our thumb is shaped like a rectangle, so we use self.create_rectangle. Now we have to pass in two XY coordinates, which determines the size of the rectangle. So the first XY coordinates is 0 and position. The second one is going to be self.winfo_width and position plus self.thumb_size. Now we're going to set the thumb's color with fill is equal to self.options. And we'll start off by setting it equal to the thumb hover color if self.hovering is true or self.dragging is true. Else, we'll just use the default thumb color. Okay. Now we're going to give it an outline. We'll make it transparent by passing in an empty string, and then we're going to tag it. So we'll set tags equal to thumb. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing for the horizontal scroll bar. So down here we'll just do else, and we can really just copy this right here and paste it inside of here. And so we're going to change the XY coordinates here. So for this, it'll actually be position then 0. And then we'll do position plus thumb_size. And then we'll do self.winfo_height. Okay. And then the fill options can stay the same, the outline stays the same, and then the thumb can stay the same. Or the tag for the thumb can stay the same. So the last thing we're going to do in this method is add 2 tag bindings to the thumb, one for when the mouse is over the thumb and one for when the mouse leaves the thumb. So down here we'll do self.tag_bind, pass in the tag here, which is thumb. We're going to do the enter event. And then the method is going to be self.on_thumb_hover. Just duplicate that. And instead of enter, we'll do leave. And instead of on thumb hover, we'll do on thumb leave. Okay, so now we have to create the 2 methods that the tag bindings reference. So we'll start with the on thumb hover method. So down here, we just do define on thumb hover, pass in self and event, set that equal to none. And we'll start off with self.hovering is equal to true. And then self.itemConfig. The item that we're changing is the thumb, so we'll pass in its tag there. And then we're changing its color, so fill is equal to self.options.get thumb hover color. So we're attempting to get the thumb hover color from the self.options dictionary, but if we don't get that for some reason, we're going to pass in a default hex color. Okay. Now we'll just do the same for on thumb leave. So define on thumb leave, self event is equal to none. We'll do self.hovering is equal to false. And then we'll do if, not self dragging, self.itemConfig, thumb, fill is equal to self.options.get thumb_color, and then we're going to pass in a default hex color. Okay. Finally, we'll add a binding inside of the Scrollbar class that causes the thumb to be drawn. So near the bottom here, we'll do self.bind, use the configure event, and then we'll do lambda e self.redraw. Alright, so now we can run our demo code to make sure everything's working correctly. Alright, so when you run the code, you should see your vertical and horizontal scroll bar from the last video. And you should see your thumbs here on both of them. And so what should happen here is whenever you move the mouse over the thumb, it should change colors. In my case, mine's just become a little bit darker. And then whenever you move the mouse off of it, it should revert. And so that should be working for both of your scroll bars here. Alright, so in the next video, we'll add code that allows us to move the thumb up and down like a standard scroll bar. Thank you for watching.